Police officer Ella French, she was just 29 years old, shot and killed Saturday night in Chicago during a traffic stop. 3 suspects are in custody. She was shot in the face. Her partner was shot, critically wounded, said to be clinging to life right now. I noticed there were no riots in the aftermath of this. Those who support law enforcement and law enforcement themselves, they don't riot. They came together to remember and to honor. I did think, though, kind of interesting that on a Saturday night, this 29-year-old woman patrolling Chicago, the city that gave Barack Obama his start. Where was he on Saturday night? He was partying in Massachusetts, his 60th birthday party that they made a great big deal over. I think that some of the responsibility for what happened to that officer is with him and his friends on the far left, and especially in the media. Starting in May of last year, in the aftermath of George Floyd, they would glorify and celebrate moments like this, as if this was some sort of logical outgrowth of the death of George Floyd, burning down a Minneapolis police station. It is totally insane, but what they have done and what they are doing is totally insane, but we're seeing the consequences. They have delegitimized law enforcement with nonsense like this that they have said and they're saying and they will keep saying.
Police are supposed to protect and serve, but has that ever been the case for Black Americans?
That's the sound of the police.
Today's baggage, how slavery helped create modern-day policing.
The idea of keeping track of the most valuable asset in the United States, that is enslaved Africans, animated much of what we recognize today as law enforcement.
To understand American policing today is really to tell a story that comes out of slavery in the United States.
So, police were established to catch slaves. Now, that is nonsense, but that has taken hold with so many people, maybe half the country. So, resisting arrest is now seen as valid, a logical response to the police. Dante Wright, he resists arrest. He gets shot accidentally. It wouldn't have happened had he not resisted. And so many said, it's outrageous to bring up, oh, don't resist. Of course he's supposed to resist because the cops are racist. Eric Garner, if he hadn't resisted, he'd be alive. So many say, well, how can you say that? No, that's the essence of this. You have to respect law enforcement. Michael Brown, by the way, in Ferguson, Missouri, didn't respect anybody. Law enforcement, the shop owner, and George Floyd. Before that horrible video, the knee on the neck, he was resisting arrest, and the police actually were trying to help him at one point. So where are we in the Chicago case? The suspects, their identities not been released at this point. We don't know, but it is a reminder that being a police officer is extremely dangerous. And one of the most dangerous things they do is a traffic stop. They might seem run-of-the-mill. Maybe if you get pulled over, you're a little bit scared. But for them, anything can go wrong, and sometimes it does. We do need this, though. I don't like getting pulled over. It's happened to me. It happens to everyone, no matter what your race is. If you're driving, sooner or later, it will happen to you. Just be calm and things should be fine. But you need this. There's the folks saying that traffic stops are racist. Hey, I've been overseas. In Iraq, they never had traffic stops, but they had wild, wild roads where you could do just about anything you wanted to in a vehicle. You don't want that kind of environment. But it seems like we're going there. After all, law enforcement, systemically racist, right? And what they do must be an outgrowth of systemic racism. Isn't that right, President Biden?
It isn't just about police reform. It's about dealing with the deep wound of systemic racism in this nation.
All right. That kind of talk undermines law enforcement. It encourages people to resist arrest. It encourages onlookers to not help police or give them the benefit of the doubt, but to break out their cameras and try to catch cops making a mistake. All right, that brings me to Barack Obama's birthday, actually, his 60th birthday, a big deal event that they said they were going to scale back, but they did not scale it back.
This event, according to all the public reporting, is outdoors and in a moderate zone. But in addition, there is testing requirements and other steps they are taking, which I'm sure they can outline for you in more detail.
Scale back my foot. Take a look at this thing. It's bigger than the World's Fair. You can kind of make out his house at the end of the tent, but this is obviously a huge mega event. No sign whatsoever that they scaled it back by any means. Let's see. It started with brunch, the day of the big party. There they are, maskless. Okay. Now let's go inside the party. There's the former president, Michelle, and somebody named, have you ever heard of her? H-E-R, her. Pronounce her. She's a singer-songwriter. Her. She's in the middle. Her. Let's see. Who else is there? Gayle King, and the guy next to her is Lawrence Banks, also known as Larry, an R&B and soul singer-songwriter. I got to, quite frankly, give my appreciation to T.J. Chapman. Let's take a look at him. Now, I don't appreciate the weed. That's not my thing. But he was a DJ at the party, and he was taking pictures of everything. They didn't want him doing that. So thanks to him, we have some images of the little tchotchkes that were there. Take a look at this. The special invite, 44 by 60, 44th president, 60th birthday. They thought of everything for this. Hey, plenty of refreshments, right? Hey, it's a party, open bar, of course. And I think he actually took some video for us as well. Let's take a look. Look, this is excessive. This doesn't seem right, especially after his side has been shaming so many people about gathering, including Dr. Fauci this weekend. I'm going to get to that in the next block. Barack Obama himself dancing on stage with Erykah Badu. I heard of her 10 years ago. Apparently she's still out there. Take a look. Looks a little spooky, actually. Yeah. That's a little spooky. But that was Obama. He was holding a microphone and having a grand old time. My last birthday was 12. I don't have birthdays anymore. You reach 12. I think that's enough. John Legend was there with his controversial wife, Chrissy Teigen. Let's see here. Being unvaccinated and/or unmasked at a large indoor gathering is like literally begging to get COVID. Please don't do that to yourself, your family, or your neighbors. These celebrities, I don't think they tweet themselves. Some staff person thought this was the right thing to say. They were there. What are they arguing? It was such a big tent that it was actually outdoors, even though it was such a big tent. I don't know. Seems pretty hypocritical to me. The whole damn thing seems hypocritical, actually, that Barack Obama, for all that he has, all that he was given, all that we gave him, should be partying in such a decadent manner in Massachusetts. And there is a 29-year-old woman named Ella French patrolling Chicago at the same time who gets shot in the face. I think he should actually start thinking about this. I know, Newsmax, whatever, but I'm not wrong. Chicago, his town, his hometown of his own, right? He moved there. That's his hometown, more so than Hawaii. Look at what's happening to it, all right? It's coming apart. We can all see that. And you know, he spoke about Chicago so many times in his books, so many times about Chicago and what was happening there, and how he knew that the powerful could be so indifferent, his words, to the problems of poverty. He could go there and make a real difference. He could roll up his sleeves, he could, I don't know, rent half of a building, a warehouse, something, and say, I'm going to negotiate a truce between these warring gangs. I'm going to get kids to put down their guns. Wouldn't that be beautiful? That would be a game changer. That would be Nobel Prize worthy. Instead, no. He's all about parties and phony photo ops, looking like he's the man, but actually just being another greedy celebrity. All that potential, everything that he has, that status. Look, I don't like the guy. There are people who respect him and love him. With that group, he could make a real difference, and he chooses not to. That brings me back to Ella French. 10 times the person that Barack Obama was. 10 times the person that Barack Obama was or is.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.